How goes it, everyone? I am the world famous Fat Kid, and today, Week 9 recap. A lot of weird games. Yeah, a lot of one sided or boring, nothing type games going on, but we'll kind of flip through them. But we'll get to what you're really here for. If you followed last week, my picks, you already know 10-4. We're doing things. We're doing good. After that one hiccup, we don't talk about it. But we started out pretty bad, actually. First three games that we covered. Yeah, I was 0-3, starting with Thursday Night Football, the Tennessee Titans and the Pittsburgh Steelers. I picked the Titans because I thought, Titans offense reinvigorated. They were gonna they played all right, but they were also going up against the Steelers defense, which I mean, I and other Motros have been raving about because, well, it's a top defense. Like, I don't know how to explain it any other way. Really. But the secret sauce to the Pittsburgh Steelers' 5 wins, make sure the offense just does barely enough after the defense shuts down the other team. Because all they have to do, stay within a touchdown and just hope and pray that the offense can actually cash in at a critical moment, which they've done quite a few times. But, I mean, there you go. Steelers, that's their recipe for success. If somebody can figure out how to beat that defense continuously, they're going to be in a world of hurt. But Mike Tomlin, he's going to keep them on the right track. So that was our first bad pick. Here comes the second one. International game over in Frankfurt, Germany. The Miami Dolphins and the Kansas City Chiefs. Hoo boy. I picked Miami knowing their struggles with good teams, with winning records. Thought, hey, they're going to come out, they're going to put some points on the board, maybe get some No, it was an ugly, disgusting, slow, stupid game. Like, Kansas City started off quick. Miami slowly just clawed their way back until okay. First things first. KC's offense came out, scored 2 touchdowns. I mean, you couldn't do any better than that in the first half. Until Miami got the ball back about the 2-minute warning, or inside the 2-minute warning, and Tyreek Hill gets stripped, and it's a scoop and score for KC to go up 21-0 at half. So, Kansas City did all their damage in the first half, did absolutely zero in the second, and Miami still couldn't do anything about it because Miami's garbage against good teams. They are, let's see here, they're 6-3 total. All 3 of those losses are against teams with over 500. They have not beaten a team with a record over 500. Yeah, Miami's bad. It's unfortunate, but it is what it is. So we move on to a good and bad game at the same time. Started bad, kicked it into high gear in the second half. Minnesota Vikings, Atlanta Falcons. The rookie for Minnesota, Hall, he went out early in the first, or late in the first quarter, sorry. Josh Dobbs hadn't done a thing with the team since being traded. No reps, didn't even know their names. He was just there to be there. Forced in. First possession when he comes in, sacked for a safety by Calais Campbell. Uh-oh. Vikings fans, I've seen this before. Taylor Heinicke was actually playing pretty well. He didn't make too many mistakes, but when he did, they were kind of costly. But the big story is Dobbs, who came in just bolt of lightning for that offense. He didn't do a lot throwing, but he was pretty efficient. He made big plays, and he led a drive late in the game to take the lead and essentially win it because the defense had to stop Atlanta with 22 seconds left. I didn't figure that was going to happen, but Dobbs may be the answer for this season for the Vikings. They might squeak in and get that number 7. I had them as division winners, and, well, that's not going to happen. Anyway, Minnesota with a comeback, come from behind, late game win. Didn't see it coming. It was a pretty good game. And then you go to one of those one-sided, lopsided, early, the Seattle Seahawks and the Baltimore Ravens, 0 points through the first quarter, I think the first half, almost. And then all of a sudden, Baltimore just explodes. Their run game absolutely killed it. 298 total yards. Mitchell, I have no idea who this guy is. 138 yards and a touchdown. Apparently, he's really fast. It was okay. Yeah, it was one-sided. I don't even have to mention the Seahawks. They got 3 points. They suck. This game and most others. Anyway, I called Baltimore. They proved me right. Again, another one-sided game. Arizona Cardinals, Cleveland Browns. 27-0. Browns just wipe the floor with the Cardinals, which this is the team that we expected. I expected to see going into this season. So when Dobbs was there, he made a huge impact because they actually won a couple games and they were competitive. And now they rolled over and showed their belly. I mean, there's nothing we're saying for the Arizona. Amari Cooper, 5 catches, 139 yards, and a touchdown. There's your game. Cleveland just absolutely destroyed Arizona, and I called it. Because Arizona's bad. So, the last game I got wrong this week. You got the Los Angeles Rams and the Green Bay Packers. I didn't know Stafford was going to be out. If I would have known that, I would have picked the Packers. But that's on me for not knowing. That's on me for not keeping up to date. And that's on me for recording before full injury reports are out. It is what it is. But, yeah. 20-3. Green Bay won 20-3. It was by no means pretty. Maybe that touchdown to Musgrave to put it completely out of reach. That was a nice play. But other than that, it was slow. It was grindy. Packers ended up winning. They're not going to get too many more this year. Sorry, Packers fans. But you know it's true. Now, moving on to what could be the game of the week. Most people would pick that as the game of the week. Tampa Bay Bucks, Houston Texans. Holy buckets. That's all I can do. That's all I can say. Tampa Bay jumped out double digits early, and Houston kept fighting back. I mean, this was a very good game. Mayfield, Baker, 265, 2 touchdowns. No real mistakes. He kept his team in position. Rachaad White, 20 carries, 73 yards, 2 touchdowns. I believe both were within the 10-yard, I think. I know one of them was from like the 4 or the 5. But either way, they played a wonderful game to be shown up by the rookie C.J. Stroud. 470 yards, 5 touchdowns. There were there were 3 receivers over 100 yards each for the Texans. That was insane. Like, Tampa Bay took the lead 37-33 with 46 seconds left. Otton, the tight end, big game for him. 6 catches, 70 yards, 2 touchdowns. Beautiful. You would take that every week, twice on Sundays. But CJ Stroud played like a vet, like he's done this before numerous times in the NFL. Not slow, but a methodical drive to get themselves into position to hit the dagger to score the game winner. I mean, there was 6 seconds left, but 75 yards for Tampa Bay. It wasn't going to happen in 6 seconds. I may be wrong about CJ Stroud. I thought he was going to be mediocre, and he's way above my expectations. I thought this was a really good game. It was really close through most of it. I mean, except for the first quarter and a half where Tampa Bay was up 10, got cut down, whatever. It was a good game. I really enjoyed watching it. I picked Houston too, so woo. Well, from here on out, I got all of them right. Okay, moving on to the Washington Commanders and the New England Patriots. Washington jumped out early, and they looked like they had this game in hand. Then they turned it over midfield. And of course, New England cashes in, scores a touchdown. What do they do then? They end up taking the lead. I believe they went in, They went in to halftime, 14-10. They were winning at one point. But it's New England, one of the worst teams in the league right now. And they beat Buffalo. Anyway, that was a little shot at Buffalo. Whatever. I mean, New England had a chance. They were down 3 at the 2-minute warning, and Mac Jones, ball deflected. Washington picks it on that drive. No timeouts left for New England. Victory formation. Washington holds on. Now, that's kind of ugly, but Sam Howell. I had no idea who this guy was, really. He played a couple games last year. It was a name in Washington. I didn't really care. But he's put on some pretty big performances. The big performances have outweighed the bad, in my opinion. I'm not saying he's a great quarterback, but he's playing really well. Mac Jones, on the other hand, move on. Get rid of him. He's done. Okay. And then a game that ended up being closer than I thought and a little more nail-bitey, if you will. Chicago Bears and the New Orleans Saints. I mean, Chicago scored 2 touchdowns. I think their first 2 drives. Maybe 2 out of 3. But, I mean, New Orleans came back, and they ended up tying it. and they eventually took a lead on a field goal. There really wasn't a whole lot of action. Like Taysom Hill came in handfuls of times. And what did he do? He ran it. He ran it. He ran it. Until he didn't. 3 yards out, he actually threw one back of the end zone to Juwan Johnson for a touchdown. Taysom Hill can throw the ball. I didn't know that. He's a tight end that plays quarterback sometimes. But he runs all the time. I don't know. He had a big game, though. Taysom Hill had a pretty big game. He had 2 touchdowns, the passing and a receiving touchdown. He didn't have a lot of yards, but 2 plays that resulted in touchdowns. Just saying. I mean, it was a pretty bleak game. The Bears are terrible. Badgett at least 220 yards, 2 touchdowns, 8 carries for 70 yards. That's not Justin Fields' numbers, but that's pretty good. Oh, yeah. New England, 5 turnovers. Or New Orleans. They forced 5 turnovers. That's pretty good. But that is the only reason they stayed in the game. The defense held pat and kept getting the offense the ball. It should have been a lot more lopsided than it was. Anyway, moving on to Indy, Carolina. Indy looked strong. And then Carolina tried to hang around. It was really boring early, and then all of a sudden Indy decided to play football. I mean, they went up at half 20-3 because of a Kenny Moore pick 6. So the only other touchdown they got in the second half was another Kenny Moore pick 6. That's pretty cool. 2 pick 6s in one game. And that can't happen very often, can it? But, I mean, I figured Indy was going to walk all over him. I guess 2 touchdowns can count as just walking over him. But it seemed they struggled. Maybe because they were up so big, they didn't feel they needed to stretch the field. But, I mean, Minshew only had 127 yards passing. That's nothing, really. But it is what it is. Indy won. It's all that matters. I got it right. We can move on. Okay, this one I'm going to sit and chew on for just a little bit. I'm sorry. Bear with me. It's the Giants and the Raiders. Now, before I really get into it, I will say this. With Daniel Jones going out in that game and Tommy DeVito coming in, that changed the way this game could have, would have, should have gone. I will say that right now. If Daniel Jones had actually stayed healthy, it would have either been a lot closer or the Giants just would have outright won because Barkley was wrecking shop. The Raiders could not stop him. Oh, and I have here real quick. Hunter Renfrow still plays football because I was watching this and I saw him targeted. And he made a catch for a good gain. And then the very next snap, he made another catch. Hunter Renfrow is still playing football. I'm happy about it. But anyway, Daniel Jones would have changed the outcome of this game. By how much, I don't know. But Josh McDaniels is gone. Antonio Pierce is in. The team looked so much better this week than they have all year. They were more loose. They were having fun. It wasn't doom and gloom. It was wonderful to see. Now, this is the Giants. They're a bad team. We're a bad team with hopefully an upside to the rest of the year. If worst case scenario, we got rid of McDaniels. Oy. Anyway, Josh Jacobs, almost 100 yards, 2 touchdowns. Pretty big game for him. 26 carries, though. I'd like to see maybe a little less, more yards. Either way, it was effective. They won. Max Crosby, Rex shop, 8 tackles, 3 of sacks. Can't stop him unless you have 2 or 3 people blocking him. But I loved watching this game. I'm excited to watch Sunday Night Football next week, this week, whatever you want to call it. And then not so much after that, because then it's Miami and Kansas City. I'm not thrilled. Anyway, moving on to what people thought was going to be the game of the week. And there's probably still some people, Cowboys fans, who think it was the game of the week. Maybe Eagles fans. But Dallas Cowboys, Philadelphia Eagles. I mean, it got a little crazy near the end. Very much so. Let's see here. Dallas, down 5, gets the ball back with about 4:43. One of the first few plays, Philly hits Prescott. Drops him back. Oh, twice. So they go to 4th down, under 2 minutes, later in the drive. Incomplete. A lot of people, game over. Philly just needs to get a first down, maybe 2, and the game's over. Dallas actually forced a punt. They got it back with 59 seconds. Started at their own 14. 3 penalties put them at the 11. The Philadelphia 11. They flipped the field in 50 seconds on 3 penalties and a couple plays. Just for the offense to get a delay game and a false start and throws it short of the goal line to get tackled at the 2. It was pretty crazy. Philly, if Philly would have lost, it would have been all on the defense on that final drive with those 3 big penalties. When you are protecting a lead, you have to play smarter than that. They know that. They got lucky this week. I'm pretty sure Cowboys fans can agree with that. Philly got lucky this week. So moving on to Sunday Night Football. Cincinnati might be back. 2 drives, 2 touchdowns to start the game. I mean, their first 5 drives, they got 3 touchdowns. And essentially, that's almost all they needed. Because, I mean, Buffalo looked out of sync. They were out of sorts. They had no idea what they were doing. Josh Allen, now, 5 straight games with a pick. He's got to work on that. But, I mean, yeah, Buffalo's D got smacked in the mouth, but then they actually started making plays in the second half. That's why it ended up being 24-18. At half, it was 21-7. So they won the second half 11-3. But when you get beat that bad in the first half, it's hard to come back from that. Something's going on with Buffalo since he's coming back to form. Who's Buffalo got next week? Oh, they got Denver on Monday Night Football. I say this way too much. There should be a bounce back game for Buffalo. But it was kind of a sad performance. Anyway, moving on to another sad performance. The Los Angeles Chargers and the New Jersey Jets. We're just going to go with that. First touchdown of the game. Punt return. Boom! Chargers coming out strong. And And then they get 3 straight drives of the Jets, resulting in turnovers. They score 14 points out of it. They're up 21. Or they're up 17-3 at the half. Sorry, the punt return, 2 forced turnovers on 3 straight drives, resulting in 14 points. They were up 17-3 at the half. And the only reason it got to 27 is turnovers by the Jets. Both teams played terrible. Don't believe me, just listen. Justin Herbert, 136 yards. No touchdowns, no picks. He played minimum. He didn't make any mistakes, but he didn't make really any big plays. Austin Eckler, 47 yards, 2 touchdowns. Because his 2 touchdowns were from 2 yards out and 7 yards out. I mean, that's not a lot. Chargers are bad, but they were playing a worse team, and they got the win. That's easy to say right there. That's the crux of it, okay? Chargers won 27-6. Terrible game. Terrible. But we are done with this week. I went 10-4. I'm excited about it. I've only had one bad week, and it makes me happy. I'm enjoying this. This is good stuff. But the biggest thing to me right now, I'm 80-56 on the year. All I wanted was a winning record. I am happy with this. I'm not saying it can't take a turn at any point this year, but this is good stuff for me. So, I think we're near the end of this one. I've been talking to you for too long. I'm going to let you get out of here. But until next time, have a good one. And remember, it is what it is. See ya.